Well, we are once again live on Taboo Talks. This is the fourth episode of Taboo Talks, and today we have decided to talk on a topic that is a little confusing, little secretive, and the title of the topic is "Does Size Matter?" Now, my dear friends, an activist and a researcher called June Renish once said that men are extremely worried about their genital size, and females are worried about their breast size. Now, taking that into consideration, we see a lot of people coming to our OPDs at different age groups and they are concerned about the size. uh, these age groups are maybe in puberty, at the onset of puberty, when the anxious parents bring their adolescent children and say that, well, his penis is very small, it is not developing properly, and they want to know what is the problem. Then we have this, mainly the problems are in teenage and in the 20s, premarital and just postmarital. The anxiety is there, and that is called as penis anxiety. Or it can be due to misinformation, disinformation, guilt, peer pressure, masturbation guilt, so many other things that can be the cause of this penis anxiety. So that brings us to the question: what is this size thing? Does it really matter? Now, there was an article in 2004 which said that Indian men have really small penises. It was derogatory for Indian men, to Indian men. They said that Indians are somewhere at the bottom of the ring, and they need to actually. What is the reason for that? There was a discussion on that. It was just the beginning of the internet. I think it was in the year 2002, and even Mr. Google was not that updated at that time. So there was a debate on that, and they found, and then of course there was a comparative study, and the global sizes were measured, and they found a wide variation in the geographical distribution of the penis sizes. That the penis sizes could range anywhere between 4 inches to 6 inches. The flaccid penis, of course, the erect penis is much bigger. The penis sizes could range anywhere between 4 inches and 6 inches. The majority, 90% of the people would range between 4 inches to 6 inches. And the global graph is something like, at the bottom of the ring would be, say, South Korea, China and India, somewhere there. And then would be a lot of European countries. USA also is around 5.3 inches. And then that would go on towards the larger ones, that is the Scandinavian countries, Denmark maybe, and Egypt, and African countries, Ecuador, Chile, things like that. And the African people, they are tall also, so they comparatively had the bigger. It's a body part, and so the sizes are something like the shoe size. It really doesn't matter. But that is as far as the sizes are concerned. Now, when anxious patients come to us and ask us about the size, they say that my penis is very small and I'm worried about it. You have to actually give them some information. You have to tell them that the penis size, really, of the size of the flaccid penis doesn't is immaterial, because a lot of external factors can influence the size. For example, in a cold climate, if you are worried atmosphere, if you are not in that sexual mood, if there's no fantasies or sexual thoughts coming into your mind, the penis could become very small and shriveled up. Also, people who are obese and they have a large suprapubic fat, these patients would, when you actually open them, you would find that they hardly have, you would even not see an inch of penis, because the penis lies buried into the suprapubic pad of fat. So largely the penis depends on the actual size minus the fat. So you have to pull that penis out of the dugout, that is the suprapubic fat, and then measure it from the base, right from the base till the tip, and then you would probably get the exact size. The anxiety is totally misplaced, because the penis size is really not important from point of view of functioning. Now, Indians, they were accused of having small organ, but I'm sure that it is the technique that matters and not the equipment, because between India and China, two of the main people with supposedly small penises, they contribute to one third of the humanity. Their populations together contribute to one third of the population of the world. So they have been performing well. So it's not about the performance, not really based on the equipment size, but it's based on the technique. And I'm sure Indians and Chinese have it. They are fully endowed with that knowledge and wisdom. So that is then of course the tumescence factor. All males fantasize, and in their REM sleep, you know that everyone has got something called nocturnal penile tumescence. So early mornings, in the rapid eye movement sleep, the penis becomes turgid because of the early morning rise in testosterone levels and DHT levels. Early morning starts at around 4 or 5 in the morning, and the DHT levels rise, and you get a tumescent penis. If these thoughts keep lingering even during the day, even at the back of the mind, then you would get a little bit of a tumescence of the penis even through the day. So when you are in that kind of an excited mood, or when you have an undercurrent of fantasy running in your mind all through the day, or you are in such an atmosphere, then maybe your penis would be more tumescent and would appear to be longer. Okay, but then really size is not that important. But you still have patients coming to you asking you about the penis size. And when you have to reassure them, you have to tell them that the size of a flaccid penis is not important. And also from function point of view, they have another inquiry, they have another scare, and that is, will I be able to satisfy my wife? Will she get her orgasm? Will she be happy with my performance? Now, frankly, June Renish also said that men are really not bothered about the penis size. It's simply not important to them. What really matters to women in a relationship or in an act of intercourse is emotional attachment, sense of humor, sense of dependability, and that comfortable feeling in the other person's company. So those are the factors that are more important to a woman, and not the penis size. Women hardly bother about the penis size. Also, for actually the orgasm to occur for a woman, or for her to be satisfied in sex, it is not important that a large penis enters inside and rubs the vaginal wall or whatever. It is actually, there are two types of orgasms in women. One is the vaginal orgasm, and the other is called as the clitoral orgasm. So clitoris is a small equivalent to the human male penis, which has got 8,000 more sensory nerve endings than the human penis, and it is located just on the anterior vaginal wall, just below the urethral opening. So that is it's a mound actually. It's a small projection, and people are doing plastic surgery nowadays to get that projection. They're injecting fillers into the clitoris to do a clitoris reconstruction. So it becomes a little more prominent, and largely clitoral stimulation is used for masturbation. It is not, and women get gratification mostly, or orgasms mostly, by masturbation. Vaginal orgasm is also possible, and that is in the anterior wall of the outer third of the vaginal wall. Outer third. The outer third of the vagina has got sensory nerve endings, and so even 1.5 inch size of the penis is enough to create the friction and the rubbing effect enough to cause orgasm. Now, the vaginal orgasm usually occurs as a G-spot. Now, G-spot is a spot that is located on the anterior vaginal wall, just anterior and below the clitoris on the anterior vaginal wall, and it was discovered by Ernest Grafenberg, and it was named in his honor. It is that place where the sensations are maximum in the anterior vaginal wall. So both these orgasms are irrespective of the penis size. While clitoral orgasm is more likely to occur by masturbation, vaginal orgasm can occur due to friction with the penis, or due to rubbing of the penis. And a 1.5 inch size of the penis is enough to get that, of an erect penis. So size really does not matter as far as satisfaction of the women is also concerned. That brings us to what is the average Indian size? The average Indian size is somewhere between 4 and 6 inches. Now, below 4 inches would be about 5% of the people, and above 6 inches will be 5% of the people. So 90% of the people will fall into the 4 to 6 inches bracket. So when people do come to me and tell me that I want to increase my penis size, what are the therapeutic options that I can offer to my patient? First is, I tell them that size really does not matter. Let your natural thing be natural. Whatever you do will be enough. If, however, some relationship conflicts or problems arise, then we'll sort it out. You get your partner. We would counsel that partner also. But what could you do? First of all, if the penis is not tumescent at all, it could indicate an early erectile problem also. So these people, you can give them HCG injections as well as a low-dose tadalafil therapy, and ask them to fantasize, and this would produce a relatively tumescent penis when the patient would get his confidence restored that my organ is really not that small, and when I'm thinking, when there is tumescent activity, it really comes up or measures up to its size. So he would be reassured, and he would get confidence. HCG injections are indicated in delayed puberty when that is identified. Parents, when they come, bring a 16 or 17-year-old and say that he has a micropenis. Now, what is this micropenis? Micropenis, by definition, is the size of the penis which is less than 7 centimeters. So 7 centimeters or just short of 2.5, just above 2.5 inches. So anything short of that is called as a micro penis. It can be also associated with micro testicles, that is the testicular volume less than 18 ml, that is between 10 and 18 ml, that is called as low volume testes, and less than 10 ml is called as hypoplastic testes. Now these can be due to certain congenital syndromes like hypogonadotropic hypogonadism. It could also be due to Klinefelter syndrome. But when people come to you with this anxiety, anxious parents, there is no need to really do an hormonal estimation. Anthropologically today, we know that women get puberty earlier. Girls are becoming more and more precocious. They start getting their chums while they're in 7th standard and 8th standard, which is causing problems to the teachers. They are not educated enough and we need to counsel them. Whereas on the other hand, men are getting delayed puberty. They are getting puberty at the age of 16, 17. So right until 14, 15, they start getting secondary sex characters, but they don't have menstruation. So it's difficult to gauge, but they don't really have enlargement of the organs, which occurs with the testosterone surge. And that occurs due to the hypothalamic trigger. So we usually tell the parents that don't wait till the outer limit of 17 years, sometimes even 17 and a half years, and your son is bound to get the trigger, and that is when you can do the hormones. And then when you do the hormones, when the secondary sex characters start appearing, at that time you will be able to diagnose hypogonadotropic hypogonadism better. These are the candidates who are likely to need HCG injections, and we give them 2000 international units 2 or 3 times a week depending on the body weight of the person, and they are also helpful in getting secondary sex characters after the hormonal estimations are done. Testosterone directly is not given to the in this age group. Then if that is not the case, if giving mild tumescence and asking them to fantasize doesn't work, then is there any other ways of increasing the size of the penis? Now, increasing the size of the penis is a multi-million-dollar industry. There are lots of oils, there are a lot of massage techniques, there are a lot of things which are injected into it like PRP, adipose tissue, stem cells which are injected into then a lot of plastic surgeries are also performed. There is something called Numac. Now Numac is an FDA approved product, and it is a crescent shaped silastic medical grade silicone sheet, a crescent shaped sheet which is inserted by a suprapubic incision in the space between the corpora cavernosa and the skin in the penis. It actually gives an effect that the penis is enlarged. It straightens the penis and gives an effect that it doesn't affect erectile function. It doesn't even aid erectile function. Erection is a totally different phenomenon that occurs with arousal, with an intact neural mechanism, dopamine release, an intact parasympathetic system, and an intact molecular nitric oxide mechanism. In the penis, where there is vasodilatation and sequestration of blood in the endothelial spaces of the corpora cavernosa. So erection is a totally different thing. So the other surgery that can be performed is a suspensory ligament incision. There is something called the suspensory ligament of the penis, which attaches the dorsum side of the penis to the pubic bone. If you cut that or slit that ligament, then the penis can become a little longer. Again, cosmetic, again, not really good. If you inject adipose, people have been injecting adipose tissues, and adipose tissue can contribute to the bulk of the penis. Now, penis is not an organ which you're going to flaunt on a stage or on a ramp walk. So really, you don't need that cosmetic effect. So it is not advised, but some people are fastidious. It's a neurotic disorder where they want it big, and the doctor is called upon to satisfy his customer. So their adipose tissue injections are done. Even fillers are injected. But adipose tissue has a problem that after 1 year, there's almost a 40 to 50% reduction in the penis size. So you have to warn the patient that adipose tissue might give you a slightly bulky penis, because they feel that if the woman sees it, or if they go somewhere and they would be probably discriminated, or based on the size they would be looked down upon. Actually, these things are all in the mind. They are not really happening. So this is the thing. But the most important and the other thing that can be done is silastic implants, silicone implants, or inflatable prosthesis. Now, inflatable prosthesis are done for erectile dysfunction. They are not done for cosmetic purposes. So inflatable prosthesis is one of the treatments, and to be given for increasing the size of the penis, but that is not done for cosmetic purposes. It is done where there is destruction of the corpora cavernosa, maybe Peyronie's disease, maybe plaques in the corpora cavernosa, failure of intracorporeal injections, failure of PDE5 inhibitors, failure of extracorporeal shock wave therapy. When all these other failure of stem cells fail, then and still the guy wants to have sex, you can use an inflatable prosthesis. These can be rigid or this can be fixed. silastic silicone. The beautiful prostheses are available. It seems to be a ghastly surgery, but it is a very rewarding surgery, and patients are able to have proper intercourse. So this much about penis size. So just on the at the end of it, I would like to tell that penis size is really not important. If you are still above 3 inches, anywhere above 3 inches, you are still fine. If it is below that, you consult your doctor. Even then, you would still be able to satisfy your wife. You would not carry that penis anxiety. And really, in case of the penis, size does not matter. So I think that would be the take home for the penis. We now come to the second half of this lecture. And that would be coming to the breasts. Now, breasts is something which is very, very conscious. Females are very, very conscious about it. Breast buds start developing right when the girl is in the school and she starts getting breasts, and it depends on the genetic factors and so many other things. But the breast size is established somewhere in adolescence, and accordingly a particular size is established, and people are very, very concerned about it because they compare it with their peers and they feel that mine is too small, I am only 30, mine is not 32, she is having 34. So, and these kind of comparisons do occur amidst peers, which gives them a real anxiety factor to worry about, and they seriously worry about it. So what is it about the breasts, and what is it about the breast size? Now, breasts to the women carry a significant image problem. Now, breasts are necessary for self-esteem. Breasts are necessary for their sex appeal. Breasts are necessary for giving them a feeling of wellness, feeling of goodness. They really feel good if they have a good sized breasts. And a small breast can be significantly hamper a person's personality as well as a person's approach to life. So there something may need to be done. Now, what is this about size? Even female breast size vary. They vary according to circumstances. For example, just before menses, the breasts become heavy, and during menses also the breasts become heavy. Then later on in life, when the person becomes pregnant, the lactation glands start developing, and the breasts become little turgid, and then they are filled with milk, and that is the function that she has to feed the baby. So a lactating breast is a little big breast, and it becomes big. And then when the lactation gets over, the breasts again collapse. And these are the different phases through which a normal woman goes through after adolescence, during marriage, and even significant handling during sensate focus or foreplay can also tend to increase the size of the breasts. So breasts assume a particular size. Now, what is the normal size? Again, there is no normal. It's a body part, and one has to be happy with what you are endowed with. That is the principle. See, in today's world, my dear friends, there is no body shaming now anymore. We are living in the 21st century. People are not now, black, white has gone away. It's all grey now. People are not shaming each other on basis of color, on the basis of creed, on the basis of height, on the basis of weight. Obesity is no longer a shame. But the average size today in the United States of America is 34. Now, how do you measure size? What is the breast size? Now, there are three types of sizes that are measured in the breast. One is called as the bust size. Now, bust size is this girth that is taken on top of the breast at the level of the nipple. That will give you the bust size. There is something called as the band size. Band size is the chest wall, and that is taken at the base of the breasts. When you take a measure tape and measure at the base of the breast, that is the band size. And the third is the cup size, and that is the size or the volume of the breast. So all these three things have to be taken into consideration when breasts are measured. So really, you don't have to really worry about the technicalities of the breast size, but breast has got advantages that you can actually, there are a lot of extraneous methods by which you can make the breasts appear good. You know, there are dressing sense, there are stylists who will produce the dresses like that, and there are different types of breast supports which are called bras, of course. And you have got push-up bras, you've got pull-up bras, you've got wired bras, you've got padded bras, you've got something silastic implants inside the bras, paddings inside the bras to give that feel also. So those are all external aids, and all these can be used. But the important thing advised to females is to wear a proper sized bra. Now, that is not easy. Most females wear a bra that is tight for them, too tight for them. Now, if a woman walks into a shop and asks for a bra, what happens when a woman walks to a shop and asks for a bra? What the shopkeeper usually gives her, he actually scans her with X-ray eyes and sees what the size, and then he gives her a something that is 90 times out of 100 is tight for her. And she makes do with it, and she comes and wears it, and this causes lot of friction problems. They cause red marks on the on the under part of the breast, on the chest wall, and it can really be damaging. Now, this is particularly problematic when the person has a large breast. Now, see, I told you about the size in UK is around 30, in USA is around 34, and you have ABC and all that. And the size in US is around 36. And in India, you have generally on the smaller sizes, but there are two distinct categories in most of the world, very small and very large. And now especially in the Western countries, the XL sizes are turning out to be more. You have shops for the exceptionally large people who sell clothes for the exceptionally large people. And actually, I read a beautiful article by Rachana Barua in Men's MW magazine, and she was telling us that, having good breasts is fine, men enjoy it, women are proud to possess it. It is good to keep your head and rest on it. But, taking care of it is not a mean thing. It requires management skills. And it requires you to really take care of your breasts, because especially when you are running. For example, she said that when I am running, I have to take care of my chesticles. She called them chesticles. She says, I am very worried that they move up and down so much that I'm worried they'll pop out and fall into the Arabian Sea. She was probably running on Marine Drive. She said that. And what she recommends is a sports bra. And if the size is very large, sports bra doesn't have any wires and things that will cause injury. But because you're going to run, you're going to move, you're going to exercise, you're going to stretch. So at that time, you can wear two sports bras, one on top of the other. She recommends that. And she said that wearing those sports bras and then doing all kinds of vigorous activity like running, jumping, all the things will give you a lot of protection. So bras and breast wear is very, very, very important. In spite of that, breast implants or breast augmentive mammoplasties or developing your better breasts. Now, breasts also, breast is something also which is hormone dependent. Now, you must have observed that people who are very athletic and people who go to the gym and people who try to do zero figure and, the people like Nadia Comaneci, for example, people who are athletes, trapeze artists, if you examine them, they are androgenic. They are, the estrogen levels are so low, they may be amenorrheic and they are androgenic, they are hirsute, they may be PCOS, and they usually almost that they like males. It is like adaptability. If a female decides to do all the things that a male does and takes over male functions and does the activity of the males, her reproductive organs will start resembling males. So that's what happens to these people. Their breasts also shrink and they become almost flat. So that is another thing. So it also depends that your femininity is very important to you, and it is important that you behave in a feminine way. Although you might be doing masculine things, but you have to take care. It's not necessary to have large breasts. Small is also beautiful. People are happy with small breasts and they can live with it. Now, there is a segment of people who go to the doctor and they insist on getting their breasts done up. They want a boob job, what is classically called as a boob job. Now, who are the candidates for the boob job? Film artists are one of them. People who are on television, whose appearance is very important to them, who are so extremely vanity conscious, it is important to them. Dancers, bar dancers, prostitutes, escort services people. These are the people who would usually, even transgenders. Now, transgenders also want their breasts reconstructed. So there is a huge category of patients. I was talking to a plastic surgeon just the day before yesterday, and she said that there is a market for this, and it is again a $1.7 billion industry of breast implants. Now, what happens? What are these breast implants? Now, breast implants are something. Of course, there's a big market for massage oils and for so many other things. But breast implants are silastic devices. They contain silastic silicone fluid. There's silicone implants which are like of different shapes. You get them in different sizes. They are they feel very good, and they are implanted in the submammary region by a very plastic surgical incision on the base of the breast. It can hardly be seen, and the results are absolutely miraculous. So this Johnson & Johnson, I remember about 10 years ago, Johnson & Johnson came to me and we decided with our plastic surgeon to do this silastic silicone implants. But the very following year, there was a report of an anaplastic large cell lymphoma arising due to this implant. And suddenly they went out of popularity, and people started not doing these silicone implants. Subsequently, they did a lot of research, and they came out with composite textured different materials, structured composite elastomer viscous fibers containing some kind of a fluid, and now you get those implants, those kind of silastic prostheses which are put under the breast. It is not a very difficult surgery. It has to be done carefully, but there can be problems in this. If you do a breast boob job, that is, the problems that can arise in this can be wrinkling, and if a boob job gone wrong, can be very harrowing to the patient. Patient can get bread loafing effect, something moves inside, that kind of a feeling. Then there can be asymmetry, it can look horrible. So these are some of then the sensation there can be sensory loss, and it has been linked to certain other diseases like connective tissue disorders, autoimmune disease, and also platinum toxicity, because all these silastic implants, they use some kind of a platinum in their manufacturing. So these are some of the things, and there are researches going on this. So they also found out that people who do these boob jobs are very, very figure conscious. They're very, very conscious about their body image, and there's another interesting study showed that people who get boob jobs done have a higher incidence of suicides. Now, the suicides are not because of boob jobs, but the research also showed that suicides are because those category of patients who undergo a boob job are extremely conscious of their appearance, and small things make a big problem. They become to the extent of being neurotic. So there's an increased incidence of so that's about the boob job. And how much does it cost? In the US, a good boob job at the best center in New York or in Milan would cost around $15,000 US. There are people who do it for 5,000, 7,000, 8,000. In India, what would be the cost? In our hospital, we used to charge 80,000. The cost of the prosthesis itself is 85,000 rupees. So the cost would come to around 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs of rupees. But I can tell you, if a person does a boob job and comes out of the OT, wow feeling. It's an instantaneous results. It really gives instantaneous effects, and it is extremely very gratifying. So what is the take home? The take home is that do not bother so much. Today we are in a world where a person's persona, body language, how she carries herself, her skills, her communicative skills, and her entire behavior, or her nazakat, what we call, contributes to her success. Appearance is not that important. So I really give you this advice that maybe boobs are important, maybe a boob job can be done, but one should resist, even as far as penis is concerned or boobs are concerned. Please do not try to take any surgery. Respect or accept your body, love your body, be the way you are. Do not try to even have an altered behavior. Try to do what you have to do without really getting psychotic about it, and just carry your body as proudly with whatever you have been endowed with, and do not try to really go on for some unnecessary things. So, and the moral of the story, what was the title? What was the title you were dealing with? Is size important? The answer is not really, not at all. In fact, size is not that important. What God has given us, what we have been endowed with, we are supposed to carry, and we are supposed to carry it proudly without any sense of guilt. And but always seek medical counsel. If you have any doubts, always come and show, and try to. There are different ways of solving a problem, not necessarily surgery. So again, wish you good luck with whatever you have. Thank you. One minute.
कितना हुआ देखते हैं. 26 मिनट्स रिकॉर्ड हुआ. बंद हो गया शायद, फ़ोन आया होगा. फ़ोन आता है तो कई बार.
तो तेरा कितना हुआ होगा? 30 मिनट्स. परफेक्ट. ठीक हुआ ना? नाइस. कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव.
कोई पेशेंट दिखने की